The stars shone bright above the crystal cities of Kepler 442. High Chancellor Vextara stood on his balcony, looking out at the twin suns that lit up his world. He was the leader of the Zephyrian Council, the most powerful group in the galaxy. For 300 years, his people had kept peace among the stars. The galaxy was home to over 2,000 different alien races. They lived on planets scattered across 47 star systems. Some were tall and thin like the Zephyrians. Others were short and round, or had many arms, or could change their shape. But they all had one thing in common. They were smart enough to earn their place in the galactic community. The Council had rules about who could join them. Only races with amazing technology could become members. Some species could read minds. Others could control energy with their thoughts. A few could live for thousands of years. These special abilities made them worthy of respect and friendship among the stars in the Council's great database. Millions of worlds were listed and catalogued. Most were empty rocks floating in space. Some had simple life like plants or small animals. A very few had intelligent beings, but most of these were not advanced enough to matter. Far away in the outer edge of the galaxy sat a small yellow star. Around it spun a blue and green world called Terra 3 in the Council's files. The beings living there called their world Earth. But the Council did not care about such details. 50 years ago, a Zephyrian scout ship had visited the Sol system. The scouts took pictures and recorded everything they saw. They watched the creatures living on the third planet from the sun. These beings walked on 2 legs and had no fur or scales. They built cities and fought wars. They had primitive machines and simple rockets that could barely leave their world. The scout report was clear and simple. The beings of Terra 3 show limited intelligence. They fight among themselves constantly. Their technology is very basic. They cannot travel between stars. They have no psychic powers. They pose no threat and offer nothing of value. Recommend continued observation but no contact. The report was filed away and forgotten. Every few years, a new scout would check on Earth and write the same boring report. Nothing ever changed. The humans, as they called themselves, stayed trapped on their little world, fighting over resources and land. Dr. Lisa Martinez did not know that aliens were watching her world. She worked at a huge radio telescope in Puerto Rico, listening to signals from space. Every day, she hoped to hear something that would prove humans were not alone in the universe. Lisa had been doing this work for 15 years. She loved the quiet nights when she could sit in the control room, watching the screens and listening to the soft hum of the equipment. Most nights, she heard only the natural sounds of space, radio waves from distant stars in the background, noise of the universe itself. But lately, something was different. Lisa had been picking up strange signals at the very edge of the solar system. They were too regular to be natural, but too weird to be from any human source. The signals came in short bursts, always from the same direction, always at the same time each day. Her friend Dr. Jake Sullivan worked with her at the observatory. Jake was a physicist who understood how radio waves traveled through space. When Lisa showed him the strange signals, his eyes grew wide. "These are not random," Jake said, studying the patterns on Lisa's computer screen. "Something is sending these signals on purpose, but they're coming from way out past Pluto. We don't have anything out there that could make signals like this." Lisa nodded. "I've been thinking the same thing. What if someone else is out there, watching us?" Jake looked around the empty control room and lowered his voice. "If that's true, why haven't they said hello?" Lisa had no answer for that question. She and Jake decided to keep studying the signals in secret. When they tried to tell other scientists about their discovery, nobody believed them. Their colleagues said the signals were probably just equipment problems or interference from satellites far away on the Zephyrian homeworld. Junior analyst Krellmoth sat at his desk, reviewing monthly reports from Frontier Systems. His job was boring but important. He had to read every scout report and update the Council's database with new information. The file for Terra 3 crossed his desk on schedule. Krellmuth barely glanced at it before stamping it with his approval. The report was exactly the same as always. No significant changes observed. Population remains divided into competing nations. Technology level unchanged. No threat assessment required. Krellmuth filed the report and moved on to the next system. He never wondered what the humans might be thinking or feeling. To him, they were just another primitive species that would probably destroy itself. Before developing anything interesting, the galactic community was busy with more important things. The Corvin Empire was expanding into new star systems. The Ethereal Collective had discovered a new form of energy that could power entire planets. The Council was planning a grand celebration to mark 3 centuries of peace. Earth was not invited to the celebration. Earth did not even know the celebration existed. But deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a facility that did not appear on any map, something very different was happening. Director Carol Hayes walked through corridors lined with computers and screens. Her team of scientists and engineers worked day and night on Project Starwatch, the most classified program in human history. Carol had been running Starwatch for 12 years. Her people had built equipment that could detect and record alien communications from anywhere in the local star group. They had been listening to the galaxy's radio chatter for over a decade. Director Hayes called out her chief technician, Danny Wright. "We're picking up increased traffic from the Kepler system again. Looks like they're planning some kind of big event." Carol walked over to Danny's workstation. The screen showed streams of data flowing in from deep space. Her team had learned to decode some of the simpler alien languages, though much of what they intercepted was still a mystery. "Any mention of Earth in the transmissions?" Carol asked. Danny shook his head. "Nothing. It's like we don't exist to them." Carol stared at the alien data flowing across the screen. Humanity had been listening to the galaxy for years, learning about the civilizations that surrounded them. They knew about the Council, the member species, and their technology. But the galaxy had no idea that humans were listening. The aliens thought Earth was primitive and unimportant. They were wrong, but they had no way of knowing that. Humans had been very careful to hide their true capabilities. While the galaxy ignored them, humanity had been preparing. The time would come when Earth would have to reveal itself to the stars. When that day arrived, the galaxy would learn that they had badly underestimated the quiet little world in the outer rim. But for now, Earth remained silent and hidden, watching and waiting for the right moment to step out of the shadows and take its place among the stars. Captain Alex Rodriguez floated in zero gravity inside his mining ship, the New Horizon. He had been working in the asteroid belt for 8 years, pulling valuable metals from the floating rocks that drifted between Mars and Jupiter. It was hard work, but Alex loved the peace and quiet of space. Today felt different. His ship's scanners had found something unusual inside asteroid 2087 Delta. The readings showed dense metals, but there was something else mixed in that his equipment could not identify. "Let's take a closer look," Alex said to his partner, Tony Garcia, who was operating the mining laser from the control room. The laser cut through the asteroid's rocky surface like a hot knife through butter. Chunks of stone and metal drifted away, revealing what lay hidden inside. Alex stared through his helmet visor in amazement. Buried deep in the asteroid was an object unlike anything he had ever seen. It was about the size of a refrigerator, made of a crystal-like material that seemed to glow with its own inner light. Strange symbols covered its surface, flowing and changing like living things. "Tony, are you seeing this?" Alex spoke into his Radio. I'm recording everything, Tony replied, his voice full of excitement. Whatever that thing is, it's not from around here. Alex used his suit's robotic arms to carefully extract the object from the asteroid. The moment his metal tools touched its surface, the symbols began to pulse with bright blue light. Energy readings on his suit's display went crazy. "Alex, get away from that thing," Tony shouted. "My sensors are going nuts." But Alex felt drawn to the mysterious object. Something deep inside him told him it was safe, even though his logical mind said he should be careful. He reached out with his gloved hand and touched the crystal surface. The moment his hand made contact, the object blazed with light. Energy flowed through Alex's suit and into his body, but instead of hurting him, it made him feel more awake and aware than ever before. His mind suddenly felt larger, as if he could think about dozens of things at once. "I'm okay," Alex said, surprised by how calm his voice sounded. "Actually, I feel amazing." 3 days later, the object was sitting in a secure laboratory deep underground. Dr. Lisa Martinez and Dr. Jake Sullivan led the team trying to understand what Alex had found. The government had taken over the investigation, but they let Lisa and Jake continue their work since they were already studying strange signals from space. The crystal object sat on a metal table in the center of the lab. It continued to glow softly, and the symbols on its surface never stopped moving. Every instrument they pointed at gave different readings. Sometimes it seemed to be made of diamond. Other times it looked like metal or glass, or something that had no name. "It's like it's changing its basic structure," Jake said, staring at his computer screen. "That should be impossible." Lisa was more interested in the symbols covering the object's surface. They reminded her of the strange signals she had been detecting from space. "I think this thing is trying to communicate with us." General Patricia Brooks stood in the observation room above the lab, watching the scientists work. She was in charge of the military side of the investigation. The object had been classified at the highest level of secrecy. Only a few dozen people in the world knew it existed. "How dangerous is it?" General Brooks asked Dr. Martinez through the intercom. "We don't think it's dangerous at all," Lisa replied. "Captain Rodriguez was exposed to its energy for several minutes, and he's healthier than ever. In fact, his test scores have improved dramatically. His reaction time is faster, his memory is better, and he can solve complex problems much quicker than before." That was putting it mildly. Alex had always been smart, but now he seemed almost superhuman. He could do math in his head that used to require a computer. He could see patterns in data that experts missed. Most amazing of all, he seemed to understand how the object worked just by looking at it. On the third night of the investigation, a young technician named Bobby Chun was working late in the lab. Everyone else had gone home, but Bobby wanted to run one more test on the object's energy output. He was tired and not paying close attention to safety procedures. As Bobby reached across the table to adjust a sensor, his bare hand accidentally brushed against the crystal surface. The object immediately blazed with light, and Bobby felt a rush of energy flow into his mind. But this time was different. Instead of just feeling smarter and more aware, Bobby felt a connection form between his thoughts and the object itself. Suddenly, his mind was filled with information, star charts, technical blueprints, and data about civilizations scattered across the galaxy. "Oh my God," Bobby whispered, staggering back from the table. "It's not just an object. There's something alive in there." The voice that answered him came from inside his own head, but it was not his own thoughts speaking. "Greetings, young human. I have been waiting a very long time for your species to find me." Bobby nearly fainted. He was having a conversation with an alien intelligence that lived inside the crystal object. The voice was patient and kind, like a teacher speaking to a student. "What are you?" Bobby asked, speaking out loud even though he somehow knew the voice could hear his thoughts. I am a messenger and a test, left here by those who came before. Your species calls them the predecessors. They seeded the galaxy with objects like me millions of years ago, waiting for races worthy of advancement. Through the mental connection, Bobby learned the truth about Earth's place in the galaxy. Humans were being watched and judged by advanced civilizations. Most species either ignored objects like this one or destroyed themselves trying to use them. But humans were different. Your minds work in a special way, the voice explained. Most species think in straight lines or rigid patterns. Humans think in chaos and creativity. This makes you compatible with our technology in ways that other races are not. Over the following weeks, Bobby worked with the alien intelligence to unlock the object's secrets. He learned that it was more than just a communication device. It was a key that could unlock humanity's true potential. Dr. Sullivan's team began reverse engineering the technology they found inside the object. They discovered that human brains could connect directly with the alien systems in ways that other species could not. Where other races needed external tools and complex machinery, humans could control the technology with pure thought. The first breakthrough came when they built a simple faster-than-light communication device based on the object's blueprints. Lisa sent a message to a radio telescope on the other side of the galaxy and received an answer in less than a second. The second breakthrough was even more amazing. Jake's team created a new type of engine that could bend space and time, allowing ships to travel between stars in days instead of years. The engine responded to human thoughts, making it impossible for other species to steal or copy. General Brooks realized what this meant for humanity's future. Earth was no longer trapped in its little corner of the galaxy. They could travel to the stars and defend themselves against any threat. But the most important discovery came from Bobby's conversations with the alien intelligence. The predecessors had left their objects on thousands of worlds throughout the outbe galaxy. Most species failed the test and never advanced beyond their home systems. Only 3 races had ever successfully unlocked the technology. Humanity was about to become the 4th. The world's governments met in emergency session when they learned about the discovery. The old conflicts and rivalries that had divided humanity for centuries suddenly seemed unimportant. They were no longer alone in the universe, and they had work to do. The Terran Advancement Initiative was formed to coordinate humanity's entry into the galactic community. Scientists from every nation worked together to understand and improve the alien technology. Military leaders planned for the day when Earth would need to defend itself against hostile aliens. 6 months after Alex found the object in the asteroid, humanity launched its first faster-than-light spacecraft. The ship was small and experimental, but it proved that humans could travel between the stars. The galaxy had ignored Earth for 50 years, thinking humans were too primitive to matter. That was about to change. Humanity was ready to take its place among the stars, and the universe would never be the same. High Chancellor Vextara was enjoying his morning meal when the urgent message arrived. The crystal tablet in his hand buzzed with emergency priority signals, causing him to nearly drop his cup of sweet nectar. "Impossible," he muttered, reading the report from the Deep Space Monitoring Station. The energy signatures coming from Terra 3 were beyond anything in their databases. The primitive humans were somehow generating power levels that exceeded even Zephyrian technology. Vextara called an emergency meeting of the Council's inner circle. Within hours, the most powerful beings in the galaxy were gathered in the crystal chamber that served as their meeting hall. "The readings must be wrong," declared Minister Thoxel from the Corvan Empire. His warrior species had never been impressed by weak civilizations. "Those creatures barely have spaceflight. They cannot have advanced this quickly." But senior scientist Kellanara from the Ethereal Collective disagreed. Her people were experts in energy manipulation and cosmic phenomena. The signatures are real and consistent across multiple monitoring stations. Something fundamental has changed in the Sol system. Vextara made his decision quickly. We will send a science vessel to investigate. Captain Nixara will command the Ethereal Dawn. If the humans have somehow acquired dangerous technology, we need to know about it immediately. Captain Nixara was one of the finest officers in the Zephyrian fleet. She had conducted first contact missions with 17 different species during her career. Most had been simple meetings with primitive cultures that barely understood fire, let alone space travel. The Ethereal Dawn was a beautiful ship, built from living crystal that could repair itself and adapt to different environments. It was also heavily armed, though Nixara did not expect to need weapons against the backward humans of Terra 3. On Earth, Dr. Lisa Martinez stood in the new command center built beneath the Colorado mountains. The facility looked like something from a science fiction movie, with holographic displays and control panels that responded to thought rather than touch. Humanity's technology had advanced by centuries in just a few months. Alien vessel detected. At the edge of the solar system, announced Lieutenant Sarah Kim from her station. The young officer was one of the first humans to fully master the mental interface with their new computer systems. Lisa looked at the three-dimensional display showing the approaching ship. It was larger than anything humans had built, but their sensors could analyze it in perfect detail. The alien vessel was impressive, but used technology that humans now understood completely. Alert Director Hayes and General Brooks, Lisa ordered. Looks like our quiet time is over. Director Carol Hayes arrived at the command center within an hour. Her people at Project Starwatch had been expecting this moment for years. They had listened to enough alien communications to know that humanity's rapid advancement would eventually be noticed. Are they hostile? Carol asked, studying the data on the approaching ship. Unknown, Lisa replied. But they're not broadcasting any threats. Their ship is clearly built for science and exploration, not war. Captain Alex Rodriguez was no longer mining asteroids. His encounter with the predecessor artifact had changed his life completely. Now he commanded Earth's first true starship, the Endeavor, which was waiting in the outer solar system for exactly this moment. The Endeavor looked nothing like the crystal ships of the Zephyrians, or the metal warships of the Corvan Empire. Human engineers had created something entirely new, a vessel made of programmable matter that could change its shape and properties instantly. The ship's hull flowed like liquid, but was harder than diamond when needed. This is Captain Rodriguez. To Earth Command, Alex spoke into his mental link with the communication system. I have visual contact with the alien vessel, requesting permission to intercept. General Brooks gave the authorization immediately. You are cleared for first contact protocols, Alex. Remember, we want to talk, not fight, but be ready for anything. The meeting between the two ships took place in the empty space between Jupiter and Saturn. Captain Nixara watched in amazement as the human vessel approached. It moved without any visible engines or exhaust, changing direction instantly in ways that should have been impossible. When the Endeavor came to a stop just a few kilometers away, Nixara could see that its hull was covered in flowing patterns that shifted and changed like living skin. The ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Nixara of the Zephyrian Council ship Ethereal Dawn. You are in violation of galactic law by operating advanced technology without proper authorization. Prepare to be boarded for inspection. Alex smiled at the alien captain's demanding tone. Humanity had been listening to galactic communications for years, so he understood her language perfectly. But he decided to have a little fun before revealing how much humans actually knew. Captain Nixara, This is Captain Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Endeavor. We welcome you to our solar system. However, we were not aware that Earth was subject to any galactic laws. Would you mind explaining your authority here? The question caught Nixara off guard. In her experience, primitive species were either terrified when they first encountered galactic civilization or immediately eager to submit to council authority. The human captain sounded calm and confident, as if he were speaking to an equal. The Zephyrian Council governs all advanced species. In this region of the galaxy, Nixara replied, trying to regain control of the conversation. Your recent technological advancement requires immediate oversight and regulation. I see, Alex said politely. And what makes you think we need oversight? Before Nixara could answer, her science officer called out in alarm. Captain, there. Ship is scanning us with technology I don't recognize. They're penetrating our shields as if they don't exist. Alex had not intended to be threatening, but the Endeavor's sensors automatically analyzed anything they encountered. To the Zephyrians, it felt like being examined by a powerful and unknown force. Please don't be alarmed, Alex said quickly. Our sensors are just trying to understand your technology. We mean no harm. Dr. Lisa Martinez appeared on the Endeavor's bridge through a holographic projection from Earth. She had been chosen as humanity's primary diplomat because of her years of experience studying alien signals and her calm personality under pressure. Captain. Nixara, Lisa said, speaking directly to the alien ship through their communication system. My name is Dr. Martinez. I represent the people of Earth. We have been aware of the galactic community for many years, and we are pleased to finally make formal contact. Nixara stared at the human woman's image in disbelief. Impossible. Our scouts have monitored your world for decades. You are a primitive species with limited technology. Lisa smiled gently. Your scouts saw what we wanted them to see. Humanity has been developing our capabilities in private while we studied your civilization and learned about galactic politics. To prove her point, Lisa activated a demonstration that she and her team had prepared for this moment. The space around both ships suddenly filled with hundreds of small objects that had been invisible until now. They were automated probes that had been watching the Zephyrian ship since the moment it entered the solar system. We have been tracking your vessel since you left your home system, Lisa explained calmly. We know about your mission, your crew, and your orders from the High Chancellor. We also know that your ship is equipped with weapons, though we hope you won't feel the need to use them. Captain Nixara felt a chill run through her crystal-like body. The humans had technology that could make objects completely invisible to Zephyrian sensors. They had been watching her ship without being detected. This changed everything. How? Was all she could manage to say. Dr. Jake Sullivan's voice joined the conversation from Earth. We discovered something your people missed about predecessor technology. Human neural patterns are uniquely compatible with their systems. We can interface with their devices in ways that other species cannot. The revelation sent shock waves through the ethereal Dawn's crew. Every galactic civilization knew legends about the predecessors, the ancient race that had once ruled the stars. Most thought the stories were myths. The few artifacts that had been found were either ignored or studied unsuccessfully for thousands of years. You found a predecessor artifact, Nixara said, understanding dawning in her voice. We found more than one, Alex replied, and we learned how to use them properly. Would you like to see? Without waiting for an answer, Alex demonstrated the Endeavor's most impressive capability. The ship's hull began to flow and reshape itself, transforming from a sleek exploration vessel into something that looked more like a work of art than a machine. Weapons ports appeared and disappeared. The ship's size seemed to double, then shrink back to normal. Our ships are not built, Lisa explained. They are grown from programmable matter that responds to our thoughts. We can reconfigure them for any purpose in seconds. Nixara knew she had to report this discovery to the Council immediately. The humans were not primitive at all. They had access to technology that the galactic community had been searching for throughout history. The Council will want to meet with your leaders, Nixara said carefully. This discovery changes many things. We hoped it would, Lisa replied. Humanity is ready to join the Galact. The emergency session of the Galactic Council lasted for 3 days. Representatives from over 2,000 species gathered in the Great Crystal Chamber, their voices raised in heated debate about what to do with the humans of Earth, High Chancellor. Vextara struggled to maintain order as different factions argued among themselves. Some species welcomed the possibility of new allies and trading partners. The peaceful ethereal collective was excited to study human technology and learn from their unique approach to predecessor artifacts, but others saw Earth as a threat to everything they had built. General Corvin Thexul pounded his massive fist. On the speaker's podium, his armored body radiating anger and suspicion. These humans have hidden their true nature from us for decades. Thexul roared, his voice echoing through the chamber. They watched us in secret while pretending to be primitive. How can we trust a species that lies so easily? Minister Raltek from the Dominion worlds nodded in agreement. His spider-like form clicked its mandibles nervously as he spoke. There. Rapid advancement is unnatural. No species develops predecessor technology so quickly without help. Someone must be backing them. Vextara tried to calm the debate, but fear was spreading through the chamber like a disease. Many of the smaller species were terrified that humanity would upset the careful balance of power that had kept the galaxy peaceful for centuries. The humans claim they want to join us as equals, said Ambassador Kexvara from the Trade Federation. But they hold technology that surpasses our own. How long before they decide they should rule instead of join? General Vexul saw his opportunity to gain support for military action. The Corvin Empire had always believed that strength was the only thing that mattered in the galaxy. Now he could convince others that humanity needed to be controlled before they became too powerful. I propose we send a demonstration fleet to the Sol system, Vexul declared. Not to attack, but to show these humans the power of united galactic civilization. They must understand their place in the order of things. The proposal was debated for hours. In the end, 12 species voted to join the Corvin Empire in sending ships to Earth. The fleet would officially be called a diplomatic mission, but everyone understood its real purpose was intimidation. Within 2 weeks, over 3,000 warships gathered at the edge of the Sol system. It was the largest fleet assembled in galactic history, representing the combined military might of the most powerful civilizations in known space. Admiral Susan Drake watched the approaching armada from her command post on Prometheus Station, humanity's new military base hidden inside the moon. The base looked like a natural crater from the outside, but beneath the surface was the most advanced military facility ever built. "They're trying to scare us," said Colonel Pete Johnson, Susan's chief of staff. 3,000 ships is massive overkill for a diplomatic mission. Susan smiled grimly as she studied the tactical display. The alien fleet was impressive, but humanity had not been idle during the months since first contact. Let them come closer. They're about to learn why Earth stayed hidden for so long. Dr. Jake Sullivan's voice crackled over the communication system from his laboratory deep beneath the Colorado mountains. "Susan, the defense network is fully operational. All platforms are responding to mental commands perfectly." The Terran defense network was humanity's greatest secret. Instead of building traditional warships, Earth's engineers had created something far more revolutionary. Using predecessor technology, they had converted thousands of asteroids and pieces of space debris into autonomous weapons platforms. The platforms looked exactly like natural objects floating in space. Even the most advanced alien sensors could not tell the difference between a real asteroid and one that had been hollowed out and filled with defensive systems. Each platform was controlled by human operators using direct mental interfaces. Single person could command dozens of platforms simultaneously, coordinating their actions within human speed and precision. General Patricia Brooks coordinated the defense from her command center on Earth. She had operators stationed at facilities around the world, each one mentally linked to clusters of hidden weapons platforms throughout the solar system. Remember, we want to disable their ships, not destroy them, Patricia broadcast to her teams. These people might become our allies once they understand we're not a threat. The alien fleet penetrated deeper into the Sol system, heading directly toward Earth. General Vexul stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds, confident that the sight of his massive fleet would force the humans to surrender. Send a message to the human leadership, Vexul ordered his communications officer. Tell them they have 1 hour to submit to council authority, or we will take control of their world by force. Captain Alex Rodriguez received the ultimatum. Aboard the Endeavour, which was positioned near Mars, alongside a small group of human ships. To the alien fleet, it looked like Earth's entire space force, maybe 24 vessels facing 3,000 enemy warships. This is Captain Rodriguez to the Corvin fleet, Alex replied calmly. We appreciate your visit to our solar system, but we cannot accept your demands. Earth governs itself and will continue to do so. Vexul laughed at the human's defiance. You are brave but foolish, Captain. Look around you. My fleet could destroy your entire civilization with ease. Could you? Alex asked, his voice carrying a note of genuine curiosity. Let's find out. That was the signal Admiral Drake had been waiting for. All platforms, activate on my mark, she commanded through her mental link to the defense network. Mark. Across the Sol system, thousands of objects that had appeared to be harmless space debris suddenly came to life. Asteroids that had been drifting peacefully for years revealed hidden weapon ports and energy projectors. Pieces of cosmic dust assembled themselves into complex defensive formations. The alien fleet found itself surrounded by a web of firepower that had been invisible until the moment of activation. Every ship in the Xul S Armada was targeted by multiple platforms, their positions tracked and analyzed by human operators whose enhanced minds could process tactical information faster than any computer. Impossible, breathed the Corvin general, watching his tactical display fill with thousands of new contacts. Where did they all come from? Admiral Drake's voice echoed across all communication channels, speaking in perfect Corvin military language. General Vexul, you are surrounded by the Terran Defense Network. Your ships are targeted, and your weapons are useless. Surrender now, and no one will be harmed. Exul's warrior pride would not let him surrender without a fight. All ships. Open fire, he roared. Destroy everything. The battle that followed lasted exactly 8 minutes and 43 seconds. The alien fleet unleashed everything they had: energy beams, particle cannons, fusion missiles, and gravitational weapons that could crush planets. It was the most devastating display of firepower in galactic history. None of it worked. The human defense platforms projected energy fields that absorbed or deflected every attack. When the aliens tried to target the platforms directly, they found that the weapons could move and dodge with impossible speed and coordination. But the most shocking moment came when the aliens realized that their own weapons were being turned against them. The defense platforms somehow captured incoming energy beams and redirected them back at their sources with devastating accuracy. Dr. Lisa Martinez explained the science to the stunned alien commanders as their ships floated helplessly in space, completely drained of power but undamaged. Predecessor technology responds to consciousness and intent, not just raw intelligence. Human minds are naturally chaotic and adaptive, which makes us compatible with systems that other species cannot use. Captain Nixara, whose science vessel had remained safely at the edge of the battle zone, transmitted her sensor readings back to the Council. "The humans are not using conventional weapons," she reported in amazement. "They are somehow controlling space and energy itself on a fundamental level." General Vexul sat in his powerless flagship, his entire fleet disabled and helpless. The humans had demonstrated military capabilities that exceeded anything in galactic civilization, but they had done it without killing a single alien. "Why did you spare us?" Vexul asked over the communication channel, his voice heavy with defeat. And confusion. Alex Rodriguez answered from the Endeavor, his tone gentle but firm. "Because we're not conquerors, General. We're explorers and builders. We want to be part of the galactic community, not its masters." Dr. Jake Sullivan's voice joined the conversation from Earth. "Besides, we have something more important to show you than our weapons. We've located 17 other predecessor sites in this part of the galaxy. With proper cooperation, we could help other species unlock their own potential." The revelation stunned everyone listening. If humanity could help other races access predecessor technology, it would revolutionize galactic civilization. Species that had been stuck at the same level of development for thousands of years could suddenly advance beyond their wildest dreams. Admiral Drake demonstrated humanity's strategic reach by revealing that similar defense networks had been secretly deployed around every major alien world during the months of diplomatic negotiations. Earth could have disabled the military forces of 6 months after the confrontation in the Sol system. The galaxy looked very different. The old Zephyrian council chambers on Kepler 442 stood empty, their crystal walls reflecting the light of the twin suns for the last time as the seat of galactic. Government High Chancellor Vextara stood in his former office, packing the few personal items he wanted to keep. There was no sadness in his movements, only relief. The burden of ruling thousands of species across dozens of star systems had grown too heavy for anyone's civilization to bear. "The transport is ready, Chancellor," announced his aide, a young Zephyrian named Kickstall. "The new facility is prepared for your arrival." Vextara nodded and took one last look around the chamber where so many important decisions had been made. "It's strange," he said quietly. "We spent so much time trying to maintain our power that we forgot why we wanted it in the first place." The new seat of galactic government was a massive space station orbiting Earth, built using a combination of human and alien technology. The Harmony Station, as it was called, was more than just a government building. It was a symbol of cooperation between species that had once viewed each other with suspicion and fear. Dr. Lisa Martinez walked through the station's central hub, watching representatives from hundreds of species work together on projects that would have been impossible just a year before. The old system of rigid hierarchies and exclusive memberships had been replaced with something much more flexible and inclusive. "It's amazing how much we can accomplish when we're not competing with each other," she said to Dr. Jake Sullivan, who was reviewing data from the latest predecessor site excavation. Jake looked up from his holographic display, showing a three-dimensional map of a newly discovered artifact on a world in the Vega system. "The Melody people are making incredible progress with their site. Their musical approach to interfacing with predecessor technology is producing results we never expected." That was the beauty of humanity's new approach to galactic civilization. Instead of forcing everyone to use the same methods, they encouraged each species to find their own unique way of connecting with the ancient technology. The Corvan Empire had initially struggled with the concept of cooperation over conquest, but General Vexul surprised everyone by becoming one of humanity's strongest allies. His warrior culture found new purpose in protecting peaceful exploration missions and defending research sites from the few remaining hostile groups in the galaxy. Humans fight with honor, Vexul had declared during the signing of the Terran Accords. They defeat their enemies, then turn them into friends. This is the way of true warriors. Captain Alex Rodriguez now commanded the joint exploration fleet that was mapping the outer regions of the galaxy. His ship, the Endeavor, had been joined by vessels from dozens of species, each contributing their unique capabilities to the mission of discovery. Standing on the bridge of his ship, Alex watched as the fleet approached yet another unexplored star system. The diversity of the ships around him still amazed him. Crystal vessels from the Zephyrians, battleships grown by the Ethereal Collective, and massive metal dreadnoughts from the Corvan Empire, all working together in perfect harmony. New predecessor signal detected in the fourth planet of this system, announced Lieutenant Sarah Kim from her sensor station. Energy patterns indicate a major installation, possibly a research facility. This would be the 43rd predecessor, site discovered since humanity's emergence into galactic politics. Each new find brought greater understanding of the ancient race that had once ruled the stars, and each successful activation brought another species into the growing network of enhanced civilizations. Bobby Sean had become something of a celebrity throughout the galaxy as the first human to successfully communicate with a predecessor artifact. He now traveled from world to world, helping other species learn to interface with the ancient technology. The key is not to fight against the artifacts. Consciousness, Bobby explained to a group of young Andromedan scientists on the planet New Kepler. You have to find the harmony between your thoughts and its purpose. Every species does this differently. The Andromedans were a peaceful race of energy beings who had been ignored by the old galactic order because they lacked physical technology. But their unique nature made them incredibly compatible with predecessor systems, allowing them to achieve breakthroughs that even humans found impressive. Back on Earth, the planet had been transformed into the galaxy's center of learning and research. The best minds from every known species came to study at the universities and laboratories that had sprung up in every major city. General Patricia Brooks walked through the halls of the new Global Defense Academy, where military officers from all across the galaxy learned the human approach to warfare, overwhelming defensive capability combined with precision strikes and minimal casualties. The goal is never to destroy your enemy, Patricia explained to a class of mixed species cadets. The goal is to end the conflict as quickly as possible with the least amount of harm to everyone involved. This philosophy had proven remarkably effective. The few pirate groups and rogue states that still threatened peaceful commerce found themselves quickly overwhelmed by joint task forces that could disable entire fleets without killing anyone. Director Carol Hayes continued to run intelligence operations, but now her mission was to share information rather than hoard it. The old Project Starwatch had evolved into the Galactic Communication Network, allowing instant communication between any 2 points in known space. We're detecting signals from beyond the galactic rim, Corral reported during the weekly security briefing at Harmony Station. There are other galaxies out there with their own civilizations. Someday, we'll need to decide whether to make contact. But that was a problem for the future. For now, the galaxy was still adjusting to the rapid changes that humanity had brought about. The Terran Accords had established new principles of galactic governance based on cooperation, shared knowledge, and respect for diversity. Dr. Martinez served as Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Assembly, but her role was more teacher than politician. She helped resolve disputes between species by finding ways for them to work together rather than against each other. Every conflict is really just a failure of communication, Lisa explained to a group of new ambassadors from recently contacted species. When people understand each other's needs and fears, they can usually find solutions that benefit everyone. The transformation of galactic civilization was most visible in the younger generation. Children from dozens of different species learned. Together at schools throughout the galaxy, their minds enhanced by careful exposure to predecessor technology from an early age. On the moon colony of Luna Prime, human children played alongside young Zephyrians, Corvan warriors, and ethereal energy beings. They grew up speaking each other's languages, understanding each other's cultures, and working together on problems that had puzzled their parents for generations. They don't see differences the way we do, observed Dr. Jake Sullivan as he watched. His own daughter working with her alien classmates on a complex mathematics problem. To them, diversity is just another tool for solving problems. The economic benefits of cooperation were just as dramatic as the technological advances. Trade between species had increased by over 300% since the formation of the new galactic order. Resources that had been hoarded by powerful civilizations were now shared freely, eliminating scarcity and poverty on hundreds of worlds. Captain Nixara, now serving as a liaison officer between the Zephyrian government and the Galactic Assembly, often reflected on how much had changed since her first encounter with humanity. "We thought we were the advanced ones," she said during a diplomatic reception on Harmony Station. "We thought we understood the galaxy and our place in it. The humans showed us that we were just children playing with toys we didn't really understand." The discovery of predecessor sites had revealed that the ancient race had left behind more than just technology. They had left a message about the purpose of intelligence in the universe. The artifacts were not just tools for advancement, but tests to see which species were ready to take responsibility for guiding younger civilizations. Humanity had passed that test and accepted the responsibility that came with it. Earth became the center of a new kind of galactic community, one based on growth and exploration rather than control and domination. As the years passed, the influence of human philosophy spread throughout the galaxy. Wars became rare as species learned to resolve their differences through negotiation and compromise. Scientific advancement accelerated as researchers shared their discoveries freely instead of guarding them as state secrets. The galaxy that had once ignored Earth as a insignificant backwater world now looked to humanity for leadership and guidance. But the humans never forgot the lessons they had learned during their centuries of isolation and struggle. "We're not better than anyone else," Dr. Martinez said during her final speech as Earth's ambassador before retiring to focus on pure research. "We're just different. Our chaos and creativity complement the order and wisdom of other species. Together, we can accomplish things that none of us could achieve alone." The story of humanity's emergence from obscurity to galactic leadership became a legend told